Everyone, and welcome to the June 12, 2012 meeting of the Downers Grove Village Council. It is my privilege to call this meeting to order. There are copies of our agenda on both sides of the room, so if anyone would like to, we invite you to please pick one up and follow along with our proceedings tonight. There will be multiple opportunities for public comment, both with respect to items on our agenda as well as items that are not on our agenda. Now, it is customary, don't get up yet, it is customary that we begin our meetings by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, and tonight we have some special guests who I'm going to invite to help us say the pledge. What do you think? Of course, nobody turns down that offer. So why don't you guys come on up, and then we're going to hear a little bit more about you in a few minutes, but it's always nice to have good local leaders help us in our Pledge of Allegiance. The flag's back here, so we're going to turn around, and you guys start us off. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to exercise some executive privilege here before you guys go back to your seat. As long as, before you go back to your seat, and while you're still on camera, I've got a proclamation for you guys, all right? So we're going to read it, and then you're going to make sure that all the folks at home can see it, and I'm going to come down and give it to you, all right? So now you can decide through maybe rock, paper, scissors who's going to get the proclamation. Just kidding. All right, let me read this, and then we'll get going here. Whereas students from Whittier School represented District 58 at the Destination Imagination Global Finals Tournament May 23rd through 26th at the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, and whereas Destination Imagination is a curriculum enrichment education program that teaches creativity, teamwork, and problem solving to students. And whereas 5th grade team, Midnight Moon, woo! Midnight Moon, comprised of Alina Albert, Daniel Atwater, Bobby Barnett, Vincent Bobbitt, Lucy Boyd, Liam Johnson, and Blair Steele competed against 61 other teams from around the world. From around the world? Wow. From around the world in an improvisational challenge. And whereas Team Midnight Moon took first place honors in the state tournament. And whereas Team Midnight Moon then advanced to the Global Finals tournament where the team placed fourth. Now, therefore, I, Martin T. Tully, Mayor of the Village of Downers Grove, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, June 12th, as Midnight Moon Day in the Village of Downers Grove, and congratulate Whittier School Team Midnight Moon on this great achievement. Congratulations. So we're going to shake hands. Once again, this is the formal one now. You guys stand up straight, good posture. Congratulations. Congratulations, congratulations. All right, so we're going to give you the proclamation. We'll take a quick picture. All right, now I have one question. So you guys did really well in the national and in the global. So when is the intergalactic finals? Tomorrow? That's when you're going to compete against the people from Alpha Centauri? Awesome. All right, congratulations, guys. Fantastic. All right, well, I suppose we should call this meeting in order at some point in time, right? Sure. Now I'm going to ask our village clerk to ask for the roll call, please.
Commissioner Rankin, Commissioner Barnett.
Here.
Commissioner Neustadt.
Here.
Commissioner Durkin, Commissioner Waldeck.
Here.
Commissioner Schnell.
Here.
Mayor Tully.
Here. Thank you very much. That brings us to item 3 on our agenda tonight, which are the approval of minutes of prior council meetings. We have one set of minutes on tonight's approval agenda, and those are our regular council meeting minutes from our June 5th, 2012 meeting. Are there any corrections, comments, changes from any members of the council? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Those minutes are adopted. All right, that brings us to item 4 on our agenda tonight, which is a segment of the meeting in which we entertain public comments of a general nature with respect to matters that are not appearing on our agenda. So these are matters of a general nature, general comments, questions. Good evening, Mr. Casa.
Good evening. Michael Casa, I'm president of the Downers Grove Economic Development Corporation. Good evening, Mayor Tully and commissioners. I'd like to just spend a minute talking about one of the most important responsibilities that the Economic Development Corporation has, and that's helping to enhance the village's sales tax revenues. The That can be done in a variety of ways, but one of the easiest, I suppose, or least difficult, is filling existing retail space that is vacant. And since I arrived here about 10 months ago, two of the spaces, retail spaces that were the most prominent were the former Rossi Furniture location, which is next to the former Home Depot Expo site, and the retail anchor spot at 75th and Lamont that used to be the home of Michael's Fresh Market. As you know, PGA Tour Superstore, which is a firm that we've been working with since the fall, is going to be holding their grand opening this week, Thursday morning at 9 a.m. At the former Rossi Furniture location on Butterfield, and I hope everyone can be there. They're one of the nation's premier golf store retailers, and I know they're going to help enhance our sales tax revenue here in the village of Downers Grove. Secondly, today I had the pleasure, along with Mayor Tully, Commissioner Durkin, and Manager Fieldman, to visit one of the newest stores in the chain Shop and Save, which is the grocery store that's going to be going into the former Michael's location. We were, I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but I was very impressed with that store, especially their meat and produce department. We had a chance to spend some time with the owners of the company, as well as virtually their entire management team, as well as the folks that are going to be working on this project. They're going to be a great addition to that center and to our community. And I know they're going to impress people who come to that store for the first time, and who that'll be their first chance to make a first good impression, and they will. And so these two locations, these two businesses that will be going in to space that's currently not generating sales tax will soon be doing so. And I'm not sure if Mayor or Dave wanted to comment at all about today's visit, if you did.
Sure. Well, thank you. First of all, the PGA Superstore is obviously something that's been a long time. We've been waiting for that. I know that Commissioner Neustadt, I think, is going to leave this meeting and go get his lawn chair and get in line for the grand opening, because I think he wants to be the first customer. But I also wanted us to echo your comments about the visit today to the Shop and Save market at the Archer and Central location. What a terrific store. I'm sure that's going to be a great addition to Downers Grove. It's going to become a destination for all sorts of fabulous ingredients and groceries, and obviously a great addition to that center, given the absence of the former tenant. And the hospitality of Eva and Cesar Jakubowski, who really were very gracious in the time that they spent with us, welcoming us into, I think, more than just the store. It was sort of their family and their home, and I think they're going to be a great part of our community, and they'll embrace our community, and obviously we hope the community embraces them, and they have a long, successful run here in Downers Grove. And I look from all measures, they should, so we'll look forward to that as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Michael. Any other questions or comments of a general nature with respect to matters not appearing on our agenda tonight? Hearing none, we'll move to item 5, public hearings. There are no public hearings tonight, so we'll go to item 6, which is our consent agenda. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments from anyone in the audience with respect to any items on the consent agenda? I know you have a question. Just making sure you're paying attention. She does have a question? Hearing no questions, any questions or comments from any members of the council with respect to anything on the consent agenda? Then roll call, please.
Commissioner Schnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnett?
Aye.
Commissioner Neustadt?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye, the consent agenda is approved unanimously. We have no active agenda tonight. That always seems odd to say. Well, that moves us right to item 8 on our agenda, which is our first reading or our workshop portion of our meeting, in which we entertain items for presentation purposes only for potential action at a later point in time. It's customary to turn this portion of the meeting over to Manager Fieldman. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. There are 5 items on tonight's published agenda, but item E has been removed. Staff has a little more work to do, and we will be consulting with the Liquor Commission, but you will see this item again shortly. So the remaining 4 items we will present tonight. The first 2 will be presented by Director Newland from our Public Works Department. The first is an award of contract for water main improvements, known as Contract B. Director Newland.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item is for 2012 Water Main Improvement Contract B. This contract includes the installation of approximately 3,800 lineal feet of 6-inch and 8-inch water main, the replacement of 20 residential water services, asphalt patching, concrete sidewalk and driveway removal, and replacement and parkway restoration. We followed village procurement policy. 6 bids were received. H. Linden & Sons was the lowest bidder, and they have most recently satisfactorily completed the Pershing Avenue Storm Sewer Project for the village in the year 2011, and similar water projects for the communities of Sugar Grove, Ottawa, Aurora, and Elgin. And staff recommends award of this contract to Linden & Sons Sewer and Water, Inc. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much for that report. Any questions or comments from any members of the audience with respect to this item? Any questions or comments from any members of the council? Next item, please.
The next item is the 2012 Resurfacing B project, which is part of the village's annual street maintenance program. This contract is a component of the overall program and includes resurfacing select village streets, which we have a list of the streets included in this contract this year. This includes milling and overlay of these street sections, and other components of this overall program, which the council has previously approved, was Contract A, which is a similar contract on other village streets, but it also includes more patching and curb work. This is the MFT component of the program. And the council also previously approved the 2012 Preventative Seal contract. You will shortly be seeing 2 additional contracts for street maintenance. One is a resurfacing of Washington Street from Burlington to Maple, and also our 2012 fall patching program. Those are currently being prepared for bid. A call for bids was issued, and James D. Fiala Paving Company was the low bidder at $1,734,912.38. James D. Fiala Paving Company satisfactorily completed the village's resurfacing projects in the year 2002, 2004, and 2008, and staff recommends award of this contract to James D. Fiala Paving Company. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Terrific, thank you. Are there any questions from the audience with respect to this bid regarding the resurfacing project? Any questions from the council? Commissioner Neustadt.
Thank you, Mayor. Just looking at this list again, it looks like some of these streets and roadways were the ones that we in-house patched last year, kind of to get them through to this point. That work that was done last year was done by our own crews. This time it's going to be a total grind down of the whole street and overlay of basically a new roadway on top. So
Yes.
This is good work, and I know these roads and many others need it, so I'm glad to see a lot of these getting done tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Other questions from the council? Commissioner Chanel?
Just one, Dave, we talked, in the report card that we got, there was a comment about the fact that they had problems with their sub as far as getting the sod and the restoration done. We are going to either talk to them or somehow include the fact that we would like that done in a timely manner.
Yes, we have already, we have plans to talk to them and let them know that before we award the contract and get going on the project, that they need to secure the landscape subcontractor at that point, just to make sure there's no delay and no difficulty.
Yeah, because I mean, that's, for residents, I think that's probably the big part. After you go through all the construction, then you look at your parkway and go, yeah. So it's kind of nice to get this done, not this technical term. It's nice to get it restored as quickly. Huh? Yeah. Get it restored as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Barnett.
Thanks, Mayor. I just want to remind everybody that that list, should it disappear from the screen quickly, can be found on our website on tonight's meetings. It's first reading item B. So for those watching at home or want to review, you can check that out anytime you want.
Thank you. Actually raises a good question. Do we have a map version of this that will be on the website? So rather than staring at it and thinking, now where is that? Somebody can...
There is a nice interactive map of all of our capital projects here available on the village's website.
So you can see it in both text and in interactive mode if you'd like.
Right.
Any other questions or comments from members of the council? Very good. That brings us to 8C as in Charlie.
I said that Nan would be presenting 2 items. She did so well in the first 2. I've asked her to present the third one, which is also another bid award, this time regarding the Maple Avenue Water Tower repainting.
A motion is requested to authorize award of a contract for the Maple Avenue Water Tower repainting, which is a capital community investment program, WP 005, to Amcoat Painting of Homer Glen, Illinois, in the amount of $954,210. The Maple Avenue Water Tower is one of 7 elevated water towers in the village, and this tower holds about 1.5 million gallons of water. This is it located. It's at the northwest corner of Belmont and Maple, right next to the 7-Eleven, just west of the 7-Eleven there. This tank was constructed in 1988. This is a picture of it, pretty current picture. And its coating system is deteriorating, and there are safety-related and operational deficiencies that need to be addressed with the tower. In 2007, the tank's condition was evaluated, and at that time, the exterior coating was determined to be providing adequate overall protection, and it was recommended that it be painted within the next 4 to 6 years, which is what brings us here tonight. As part of our preparation for this project and part of our due diligence work, we had a more in-depth analysis done of the tank's condition, and we found that it was in worse condition. It had deteriorated more from 2007 to today than it was anticipated that it would, and this is a more up-close picture of it. What was anticipated to be spot cleaning and top coat of the exterior now is recommended to be a complete cleaning and recoating. More rapid deterioration of the interior surface was also found and is contributing to a more extensive scope of work, which will include sandblasting and recoating also for the interior. In addition to these, the contract will also include ensuring the tank's conformance with current safety and access regulations and operational improvements that will reduce the cost of operating and maintaining the tank. These will be done at the same time we'll be doing the painting work. These were all, what I've described before, part of what the base bid for this. In addition to the base bid, we also included 2 items. The other is a new, it's called a fluoroethane exterior coating system. This is a newer high-performance coating system that's projected to have a service life of up to 30 years. That's in comparison to approximately 15 years, which is recommended or suggested by the manufacturer of the more traditional product. A large amount of the cost of tank painting are fixed costs due to mobilization of equipment, labor, and the installation of a containment system to contain the paint as they're blasting it. And because of these fixed costs, we feel that the investment of an additional $58,400 for this longer life coating is a positive rate of return for the village. The second alternate bid item consists of the installation of an interior ceiling that will help collect condensation that falls into the tank and direct it to a drain, reducing maintenance within the stem, the lower part of the tank. And staff does recommend approval of these 2 alternate bid items. This project was publicly bid in accordance with the village's purchasing policy, and the low bidder was Amcoat Painting of Homer Glen, Illinois, with a price of $954,200 for the base bid as well as the 2 alternate bids. Because of the increase to the scope of work, the recommended bid amount is $403,632 over the budgeted amount, and staff recommends the use of available fund balance in the water fund to complete this project. Amcoat Painting has successfully completed similar projects in the communities of Darien, Elmhurst, Wooddale, Lamont, Oakbrook, Hoffman Estates, and Schaumburg, who provided positive references for this contractor. Staff recommends award of the contract to Amcoat Painting, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments with respect to this item pertaining to the water tower repainting project from members of the audience? Questions or comments from members of the village council on this item? Commissioner Schnell?
This is not going to surprise Manager Fielman. One question. When we did the reference checks, did we check to make sure that the company actually did the work on time and that it wasn't an excessive overage as far as time?
We did, yes.
Okay. And I still worry about the timing of doing this in the summer, because I lived through 1 year up here where tank was down and we had drought similar to what we have now, and we really had some problems as far as recharging our tanks. So I just, one more time, there will be no, I mean, you don't perceive a problem as far as having a tank down in the summer, in the heat, with lack of rain, and still being able to recharge our tanks every night.
We do not.
Okay.
We have a consultant, we have a very in-depth water model for the village. We have very good flow and pressure in our system. They modeled this on the peak days, about 12 million gallons, and they modeled that along with fire flows. So we looked at some pretty extreme conditions for this, and the system operated favorably. Another benefit of this location is it's an intake location for DuPage Water. So we will continue, this will continue to be an intake location. We'll be receiving Lake Michigan water directly at this site. Although it won't be going into the tower, it'll be going directly into our system at this point. So we are confident the system will operate satisfactorily.
No, thanks, I appreciate that, because I worry about it, and hopefully it'll all work out well.
Let's hope so.
I hope so too, So when are you actually starting?
I think we should be starting, Stan, maybe 3 to July.
Okay.
Commissioner, sorry.
No, I was going to say thanks.
Commissioner Barnett.
Kind of unrelated or related, could we sometime in the next near future get a kind of an update on the fencing projects associated with towers and the pump stations? There's some of those that seems like a year or so ago we were talking about them, and we haven't really done anything yet, and I'm just wondering where that stands.
Sure.
Thank you. Commissioner Waldeck.
Probably more comment than anything. Okay, we're taking this out of the water fund balance, so we continue to take, according to the plan, monitor all the revenues coming in under our new water billing system. We're reducing the fund balance. We will build up that fund balance over time, and this will probably affect some projects down the line, I would take it.
That is correct, and I will also add that the proceeds from the recent $10 million bond issuance will be used. That's why that fund balance is in the position that it's in. These are exactly the type of necessary capital improvements that were anticipated in the water plan and the water fund bond issuance.
See, I actually had to get that out there so we know why we did what we did. Thanks.
Commissioner Neustadt.
Thank you, Mayor. The fluorourethane is a newer coating. It's been used in other towers and tanks before. How long has it been around for, and is it been tested?
We can find out.
Okay, that'd be good. Thank you.
Thanks. Just to pick up on Commissioner Waldeck's comment, at some point in time in the future, this work was anticipated to be done. It's really what we're doing is we're having to do it sooner than we had otherwise planned in terms of the additional $400,000, because obviously it sounds like a lot of money that we're having to take out of reserve, but we had a reserve there to take care of these kinds of capital projects. Just this one was anticipated to perhaps not be required until later, so it's really just moving it up in time. Is that sort of a simpler way of putting it?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from members of the council? All right, very good. Thank you. That brings us to item 8D as in David.
Which is a final plan development amendment for a monument sign at Good Samaritan Hospital. And our Community Development Director, Tom Dabereiner, has background information on this petition.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ordinance has been prepared amending Plan Development 19 for Good Samaritan Hospital to permit a third monument sign on that property. Good Samaritan's request is for a 10-foot tall sign, four-sided monument sign at the corner of Highland Avenue and 39th Street on the northeast corner. The sign would be used as a directional sign to guide patients to the emergency room and other hospital destinations via the most direct route. The request requires an amendment to the plan development agreement because the proposed third sign is not consistent with the village's sign ordinance, which permits two signs where there are multiple street frontages. There is a map to get oriented. That's the property that we're talking about, and that's the corner we're talking about, northeast corner of Highland and 39th. We'll provide an aerial, and again, the sign in this case is in the lower central portion of the picture. And if you were looking from the corner to the northeast, you get a sense there of where the sign would be located. The people at Good Samaritan were kind enough to put stakes outlining the location of the sign, and what we did then was lay in, if the button works, there we are, an imaginary sign for you to consider. That is the sign, obviously, in a drawing version, what it would look like in that location, roughly. These are each of the four sides of the sign, and you have a shadow figure there to give some perspective as to height of the sign and height of the person, for that matter. Those are the other two signs that exist on the site. The main entrance sign off of Highland Avenue on the left, and then the relatively new sign along 39th Street on the right side. That sign that's on the right side, again, that sign on the right side, if you take a look at it at night, and it's a little difficult to get a good picture of it, but that's the kind of internal illumination that we're talking about for the sign. Obviously, somewhat different messages and arrows, for that matter, but that kind of illumination at the corner. The comprehensive plan recommends that the village support the operation, improvement, and modernization of Good Samaritan Hospital. The only deviation from the zoning ordinance is the request for the third monument sign. When two signs are allowed under the sign ordinance, the sign would conform to all other requirements. Plan Commission considered this petition at their May 7th meeting and noted that the request was unique. The green sheet provides a couple of these reasons. Well, let me just highlight them. First of all, the size of the hospital campus was unique compared with other general business locations. The diversity of uses, the diversity of users coming to the site, and the difficulty of finding a destination within the campus unless you have some directional signage. And also, the ability to find the emergency room during an emergency was deemed something of utmost importance here. The Plan Commission found that the proposal met the standards of approval for final plan development amendment per section 28.1607 of the zoning ordinance and unanimously recommended approval. Staff concurs. We do have representatives from Good Samaritan here tonight. We are available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dave Reiner. Any questions or comments from any members of the audience with respect to the proposed third monument sign at Good Samaritan Hospital? Questions or comments from the council? Commissioner Neustadt?
Thank you, Mayor. It seems to me like this sign makes a lot of sense. All of us are very familiar with Good Samaritan and how to get in kind of the back door to the emergency room. But for a visitor to our town who may be following signs from the highway or from Ogden Avenue or even from Fairview, they may not be able to see the right way to get in. And it sounds a little corny to say, but I know Italian Chief Madrick will agree with me. The seconds can save, valuable time, I guess, when people are heading to the emergency room. So I'm going to support this. The only question I have for Tom is on this one exhibit where we see the corner. It's set off the corner quite a bit. Is there any other signs? I can't picture it in my mind. Any other light poles or street signs that would be kind of in the way of the sign on the hospital's property? Or is it far enough back where there isn't going to be anything kind of close
There's
to
a
it?
site triangle that we need to be concerned with as well. There are some things mostly from the east. We did look at the visibility of the sign where it would be located in terms of the four major streets. The biggest restriction is from the east. That's okay because if you're coming from the east, you have that other access point. But there's really very good visibility north-south and somewhat to the west.
And the current sign there by the emergency room entrance, kind of off of Washington, that's lit up already.
Yes.
So if we
That
want
was
to
an
see,
actual photograph.
so we could go out there and see how illuminated it's going to be.
Absolutely.
It's not super bright and
Yes.
affecting, but Okay, thank you. I'm in support of this. I think it's a great idea to help folks get around the campus, not only to the emergency room, but then to the physician's office and all the other great things that the hospital provides for our community.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Waldeck.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll echo Commissioner Newstadt's comments. This has to do with safety. I think the main purpose of the sign ordinance was to neaten things up and reduce extraneous and large advertising, so to speak. And this isn't advertising. This is actual safety. So I support it entirely. I think it's a great idea. I would suggest, I like the human proportion, the picture there, but if you can make that individual a little smaller so I can relate better, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner.
We did make them bald so I could relate.
Is Good Sam also doing some work internally so that once people find the 39th entrance to get into the hospital campus, that they can find the emergency room from there?
There are some signs already in place on the property itself, yes.
Okay, I know there are signs there, but as a frequent user of it when our kids were younger, when you're under a stress situation and you're trying to get your kid to the emergency room because they're not breathing, sometimes it's not that easy to find the signs. And I know we're trying to get them to that entrance so that it's easier in. I just was wondering if they were going to work. I thought I read something about they were working internally, making the signage better.
Correct. Right, that's not part of this.
No, I know it isn't, but I mean, if the idea is to put a sign that's illuminated on a corner next to a residential neighborhood, then the whole thing should be working together. That's all I want to make sure.
Yes, they are developing and working on a comprehensive sign system.
Within the campus
Within the
itself.
campus,
Okay.
yes.
I'll just echo what Commissioner Newstead and Waldeck both said. This is clearly a unique situation. As I understand it, the sign itself is compliant with the ordinance. Just the fact they get a third one, and given the apparent, patently obvious life safety issues involved, I think this is entirely appropriate. That's all I have, and that's all you have.
That's all I have, Mayor. That is our first reading tonight.
Terrific. Thank you very much. That brings us to the mayor's report. And I have two items on the mayor's report under item 9. The first is the continuing update with respect to where we stand in terms of working with Commonwealth Edison to enhance the reliability of electrical service here in our community. And on that note, this week's update is as follows. ComEd has notified the village that it has completed 2 overhead cable projects in Downers Grove. There are 2 other projects in progress that are scheduled to be completed by the end of June. Additionally, staff remains in contact with ComEd as outages occur this year. There won't be any outages, will there?
No rain.
As outages occur this year to ensure that there is a timely follow-up and restoration. And Commissioner Barnett will be pleased to hear this. Staff is also working with ComEd to schedule a follow-up town hall meeting in September of this year. So everyone, please stay tuned for more information on the date and location of this meeting. And we are going to make sure that this also represents the business interests in town, because obviously they are as much stakeholders as the residents who like to have the lights on. And of course, you know, without electricity, you kids wouldn't know what to do, right? No, you guys would. You guys would be reading books and probably coming up with a cure for cancer, but I'm saying most kids. The other item I have is with respect to United States Army Week. Whereas this is a proclamation. Whereas the United States Army is celebrating its 237th birthday on June 14, 2012, and on this day the United States Army will recognize with great pride the thousands of young Americans who have answered and will continue to answer the call to service. Those young men and women have shown a profound sense of duty, selfless service, and respect through great acts of honor, integrity, and personal courage. And whereas the all-volunteer Army is uniquely an American phenomenon that began as an experiment at the height of the Cold War, and the quality and success of the volunteer force remains unprecedented. Whereas today the United States Army is recognized as the premier army in the world, with America's volunteer soldiers serving in 120 countries. And whereas American soldiers are voluntarily foregoing comfort and wealth, facing hardship and sacrifice, and confronting danger in defense of our nation, the United States Army is and will remain a testament to the success of Army recruiters in attracting the nation's best and brightest to volunteer. Now, therefore, I, Martin T. Tully, Mayor of the Village of Downers Grove, do hereby designate Thursday, June 14, 2012, as the United States Army's 237th birthday and declare the period from June 11th through June 16th, 2012 as United States Army Week, and urge all citizens to join me in this salute as we express our gratitude to those who have served and those who are now serving to protect our nation and its freedoms. And I wish we had our favorite sergeant, who's our local recruiter, here to accept this, but unfortunately, we'll have to tender to him at another point in time. Well, those are the only two items I had under the mayor's report. That then brings us to item 10 on our agenda, our village manager's report.
We do have a report tonight. In fact, we have an update on the Belmont Underpass project, and Director Newland has information on this.
Well, after many, many years of planning and a good solid year of construction, I have some exciting updates for you. As most people have probably noticed, last week they completed paving on the south side of the tracks in the commuter lots and on Belmont. This week, they plan to complete striping of those parking spaces on the south side, on the east side in the lot off of Hitchcock, and on the west side off of Lot H, and opening up about 40 additional commuter spaces, as well as opening the access to that lot off of Belmont, which will be a great enhancement to our commuters getting in and out of that lot. Next week, also this week, they're planning to pave the northeast ramp, which is the ramp that you'll take to come down from Warren down to Belmont and vice versa. So that's planned to be done tomorrow and Friday, or Thursday and Friday. Next week, they plan to pave Belmont north of the tracks. And the week after, the week of June 25th, complete striping of Belmont, as well as finish the last work on the pedestrian tunnel and the tunnel structures, and possibly open the tunnel structure for pedestrians and commuters to use to go underneath the tracks and close that at-grade crossing there that they had been using. So that will be a great day for that to happen. The week of 4th of July, they plan to complete the traffic signals, the new traffic signal which will be at Haddow and Belmont, and a new signal at Prairie and Belmont. And those signals will also include an interconnection of the signals at Prairie, Haddow, and Curtis. So that's part of the work as well, is that interconnection. And once that traffic signal work is done, which they project to be the week after the 4th of July, they will open Belmont Road to 4 lanes of traffic. And that will leave pretty much everything except for the restoration work to be done after that time. And I know there's summer school going on at Puffer School. The contractor's been working hard to coordinate with them. Right now there's going to be a sidewalk put on the new sidewalk on the east side of Belmont there up to Prairie, so they're working with the school to coordinate that with the students getting to school as well. But a lot of excitement happening at Belmont right now, and give us 2 or 3 weeks and I think it'll be pretty much wrapped up.
Terrific.
It's amazing.
That's a long time in coming, and it was quite remarkable when the project began, and to actually see it completed pretty soon, that's terrific. Thank you very much for the update. Any questions for anybody about the Belmont Underpass project?
That ends our report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Brings us to item 11, Attorney's Report.
Thank you, Mayor. Only one item tonight to present, and that's an ordinance approving a final plan development amendment to Plan Development Number 19 to permit a 3rd monument sign at Good Samaritan Hospital. That is all.
Thank you very much. Brings us to item 12, Councilmember Reports, New Business. Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one sort of announcement about this upcoming weekend. There is an event being held right downtown, in addition to the farmers market, called Father's Day Grill Out at the Lemon Tree. One of the side, there's some grilling tips to be had. It's going to start with breakfast at 8:30 and it'll end with pork chops and hot dogs at 2. But in between, you'll get an opportunity to help raise some money for the Downers Grove Junior Women's Club by dunking some of your favorite potential targets in Downers Grove, including Senator Ron Sandak, Commissioners Barnett and Neustadt, our own Mayor Tully. Those should be entertaining for folks. And then the real celebrities kick in. Coach Josh, who I know a lot of folks know, Coach John Wander from North, and then a couple of YMCA folks, Chuck Keenley and Barb Taylor. The Downers Grove Junior Women's Club does a lot of good work in town, a lot of good work with kids and scholarships, and this is another fundraiser for them, and it's a nice opportunity to chuck a ball and dunk some relatively minor celebrities in our community. It's kind of a strange choice of words when I look down this aisle, but Coach Josh is a real celebrity, so come at 12 o'clock and dunk Josh. Downers Grove Junior Women's Club is a longtime member of this community who really does work hard, and I'd encourage everybody to stop down at the farmer's market, walk across the street, and throw a softball at a few of your local neighbors.
And what day is that again?
That is Saturday, June 16th.
And what time?
It starts at 8:30 with breakfast.
And what time is he being?
When's
And
the dunking
The
begin?
real dunking begins at 11:30. I'm not telling the truth. 10 o'clock is Senator Ron Sandak. 10:30 is myself. 11 o'clock is Commissioner Neustadt. 11:30, the time to really mark your calendars, is Mayor Tully.
What time am I supposed to be there for this?
12 is Coach Josh. 12:30 is John Wander. 1 o'clock is Chuck Keenley, and 1:30 is Barb Taylor.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that all those elected official date and times were out, because for those of you who live in the proximity of 63rd and Woodward, I want you to tell all your neighbors, all your friends, they can come on down and dunk the village council members. And it's, I don't know, probably $1 for a softball, but for $5 we'll give you a rock. Because we really want to raise some money for the Downers Grove Junior Women's Club, because they are an outstanding community organization. So make sure how many people do you have on that petition? I want them all down here. All right, I want them all down here dunking. You can raise $1,000. There's $1,300 right there for the Downers Grove Junior Women's Club. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Schnell.
I just want to wish all the fathers, would-be fathers, happy Father's Day coming on Sunday. And I assume Commissioner Newstadt's going to talk about Coffee with Council.
Sure.
So I'll pass it off.
Thank you. Commissioner Neustadt.
Before you go to Lemon Tree for the Junior Women's Club event, you can stop by the train depot right in front of the market on Saturday, June 16th at 9 a.m. Coffee with the Council will be held. It's an informal gathering of your elected officials just to talk about whatever's on your mind. Come on down. Also, Mayor, if I may, the 4th of July parade is fast coming up here, and I wanted to make sure everybody realizes that it is going to be reversed this year. The goal was to kind of give it a little bit of a new twist and start at the north end of Main Street towards Downers Grove North and head south towards town. And once again, the Downers Grove Junior Women's Club have stepped up, and they'll be helping organize a concert in the park at Fishel Park right after the parade. A local band, Hindsight, will be performing. It's a free concert, hoping everyone will follow the parade down, cross the track safely, and then end up in the park for a nice picnic with some great live music. So it's a new twist to a great tradition in Downers Grove, and look forward to being there with all of our neighbors and community friends. And that's all I have, I think, for tonight, Mayor. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Waldeck.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor, I wasn't paying attention. I was counting my money here. It was $1 a ball, wasn't it?
$5.
Okay, all set.
$5 a rock.
Is there fencing involved? Okay. No, I have nothing here. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, actually, I'm going to get in shape for the dunk tank that morning. Four Corners Community Church here in Downers Grove is having their first Run for Rwanda 5K that morning. So it's going to be a 5K race, and then coffee with the council, and then drowning exercises. I think they call that waterboarding.
Waterboard.
It's a triathlon, isn't it?
Yeah, well, all you need is a bicycle and be in good shape. Something like that. So yes, coffee with the council this Saturday, so please come on down, enjoy the market. You can talk to your elected officials, and if you don't like what we say, then you can drown us. So that's democracy in action.
Hey, Mayor. Butt back in.
What's that?
Butt back in for a moment. Could you
Sure.
describe, in addition to Coffee with the Council, there's a specific bike, Downers Grove, bike,
Something.
ease of biking our community kind of situation where we'd like to receive input and we'd really like to hear from people? Could
Yes,
you
we are in
describe
the
that a little?
process of updating our bicycle and pedestrian plan for the entire village of Downers Grove. We've hired a consultant to help us with that exercise, and that consultant will be around during Coffee with the Council and right after Coffee with the Council. And they've invited all of us on a bike ride, a short bike ride in and around the downtown area, a couple of miles, for the purpose of collecting input from those who like to cycle through our community. So everybody's welcome. Please bring your bicycle and join us for a quick trip around.
So it will be a triathlon then.
Yes, it will.
I can run, bike, and swim all on that same day. And just to pick up on that, the consultant is also going to be around, I guess, tomorrow at the Main Street Station from 9 to noon during Bike to Work Week at the Main Street train station. And then at the summer Friday Night Car Show on June 15th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And then during, well, now I'm going to just blow the whole whole introduction here, at Rotary Grove Fest from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m., also at the Main Street station. So there'll be lots of opportunities to provide input there. And of course, the last thing I want to add is that not this Thursday, but next Thursday, Rotary Grove Fest. How many of the Midnight Moon kids are going to Grove Fest? Oh, of course you are. Of course you are. There are only 8 days, 4 hours, 12 minutes, and 2 seconds left until Rotary Grove Fest begins here in Downers Grove. It'll be a good time. It's the community's largest block party, is what I like to call it, right here in Downers Grove. So come on down. I'm sure there'll be lots of us there supporting one or more of various community organizations. I know where you can probably find Commissioner Neustadt and I at some point over the 3-day weekend. But looking forward to seeing all friends and neighbors at that. I have nothing further, and that concludes our business for tonight. So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Schnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnett?
Aye.
Commissioner Neustadt?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you and good night.
Lacey's shower in our house is